Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It is June 24th, 2017. This is Storm Spotter for the National Weather Service, Phoenix, Arizona. Timothy Breault reporting to you about another monsoon update across the air for the North American monsoon 2017. Let's take a look what we got going on here today. Well, look at this impressive supercell over New Mexico right now. So what caused these thunderstorms to develop in New Mexico today? Remember I said that after the 26th there'd be something, but it was a couple days earlier than I thought. What we had was a backdoor cold front that pushed some Gulf of Mexico moisture all the way in from the Gulf, from North Texas, all the way to the Arizona-New Mexico border here. And high pressure right now currently resides along the Arizona-New Mexico border, but it's causing a northwesterly flow, and we have northwesterly wind shear at about 30 knots across the area, across much of New Mexico. Northern New Mexico, you had more isolated supercell thunderstorms developing today up here. But tomorrow, watch out. On the 25th, you guys are going to get more severe thunderstorms again tomorrow. The storms were quite strong today, especially south of Sacro, New Mexico. We had some thunderstorms develop that produced some large hail, up to 1 inch in diameter in some areas, very heavy rainfall, and winds gusting up to 70 miles an hour. We also have dense blowing dust that is occurring across much of the southern parts of New Mexico right now, but this cell is of interest right here, and it's been picking up some pretty interesting circulations within the storm itself. Definitely a possible wall cloud on this and some large hail. The storm has lost a little bit of its characteristics, but is showing some signs of pushing an outflow boundary here now, heading towards the southwest, towards just east of Albuquerque right now. So you people in Albuquerque, a much more active day is expected tomorrow. I think Albuquerque, you will have a good chance of seeing some isolated to scattered severe thunderstorms tomorrow across your region, which will contain large hail and damaging winds and very heavy rain, as well as dangerous cloud ground lightning. These storms have had very frequent lightning over the last couple of hours across the area, with some 1,500 cloud ground lightning strikes over the last 2 hours across New Mexico. Unbelievable. All right, so taking a look at some other maps here. This is the complex of storms that has now moved into southern New Mexico right now. Southwestern New Mexico. These storms are quite strong and producing hefty rainfall amounts. Remember I said in my last video about a week ago that we could be looking at some very strong rainfall amounts, and rainfall amounts have been quite impressive across the area. Rainfall estimates, we have a flash flood warning or a flood warning for this area under this cell. We can see that up to 2.5 to 3 inches of rain has fallen out of some of these storms as they move. They were a little stationary over the mountains, but as they moved over the desert areas, they've started to pick up a little bit of speed. So I have to quote and caution you guys that this is not your classic monsoon flow, okay? This is not fully monsoon associated with it. There is some monsoon moisture associated with this as well, but this is not your classic monsoon setup right now across the area. So as we continue to look at some other maps right now, we can see that there is some more moisture here in Arizona right now in our mountains. It's beginning to pick up some light rainfall accumulations. A lot of these are dry-based thunderstorms over here in along the Arizona rim country right now. So these are just some pretty much a mid and high-level monsoon moisture right now across the area that is causing these storms to fire up across the region. Southeast Arizona, you have a little bit right now going on, but there's really not a whole lot. There is a thunderstorm complex that is beginning to develop here in northern Sonora, Mexico right now that might push a good outflow boundary to the northwest tonight, helping to up the dew points around the Tucson area tomorrow. So Tucson, you're under the gun for some scattered showers and thunderstorms tomorrow. But again, they're going to be from San Carlos to Benson, Sierra Vista, Douglas. They're going to be a little bit further off to the east. A few virga showers are possible overnight tonight in through the afternoon tomorrow across the Phoenix area. But again, mostly virga, high base stuff. Not any rain really going to be falling out of them. Because this is not your classic monsoon setup. We even have a few showers and thunderstorms over in California right now, the California mountains. Again, those are relatively dry-based in nature and are not producing a whole lot of rain whatsoever across the area. You can see rainfall, probably 45 to 50 database echoes picking up here on screen. Again, just light to moderate rain falling out of those. Could be some hail in the mountains with those as well, as the Cape values are around about 1,000 kilojoules up in the mountainous terrain up around there. Okay, so let's take a look. I have a more accurate prediction of when the monsoon rains are actually going to hit for the North American monsoon this year. We take a look at some models down here. And again, you can't take these models seriously. Take them with a grain of salt. If they just help give an idea of what is occurring in the atmosphere and what could be drawing in the monsoon. We like to look at Cape this time of year. And looking at the Cape values, we tend to see where the highest amounts of Cape are going to be. So New Mexico tomorrow, 25th and 26th, we're looking at 900 to 2,000 kilojoules of Cape here. Definitely very impressive. With this Cape values, could be looking at more strong to severe thunderstorms, some with flooding rains and large hail. Tornadoes are not a very likely scenario across the year, but funnel clouds are possible. But even a very isolated tornado in the strong northwesterly flow is a possibility, but they will not be long-lived. They'll be relatively short-lived if a tornado does occur across the area in the New Mexico central and eastern plains. So heading further into time, on the 27th, the Cape values are still rather impressive over Sonora, Mexico, and in through parts of New Mexico here, especially the just west of the divide. Again, a nice sliver of Cape there, up to almost 1,000 kilojoules. Then that Cape explodes into the plains. It looks like some severe weather in the northern plains up around the Dakotas as we head in through the 28th across the area. And then we look at Cape down here. So it looks like Sonora is going to be quite active here across the year. This is where we look for the bubbling up of the monsoon season too. Again, this is a good sign that Sonora is going to become very active here with thunderstorms. This will be the monsoon ramp up down that way. And that's going to help the forests down there, the semi-dry forests that are usually brown for most of the year. They're going to start greening up as we have a daily cycle of thunderstorms that are going to develop in that region. And we can see that southeast Arizona has just a sliver of that Cape of up to around 1,000 kilojoules. So just, I'd say, southeast of Tucson right now. These areas definitely look like they could see some scattered thunderstorms on a daily basis. Again, some producing moderate rainfall. Then that kind of tempers down a little bit on the 29th into extreme southeast Arizona. And then we'll have to watch for a possible severe thunderstorm outbreak on the 30th here in the northern plains in Nebraska, Kansas, and parts of the Dakotas. Again, but as we continue and head into time here, the Cape values really get high here in the Dakotas, around Iowa and these areas here. We're going to have to definitely watch out here in these areas just to the west. A couple states to the west of Chicago. Looks like a severe thunderstorm outbreak on the 1st is definitely a possibility here, with Cape values approaching 3,000 kilojoules. So that is quite impressive. But continuing to look on forward here, we look into the month of July. So here's Sonora and central Mexico. The monsoon's really healthy and strong down here now. And we're seeing just like I said, little slivers of Cape on a daily basis to the southeast of Tucson. And then as we continue to head into time, we can see that the Cape on the 2nd begins to just stay there pretty much. It doesn't really do much right now, but look at it building up the spine here. It's starting to creep off of the coast of Mexico here. And when it starts getting into the Gulf, those thunderstorm complexes start getting to the Gulf, we start getting Gulf surges of moisture that come up here. And oftentimes that can create high heat and humidity indexes across the state, and then a day or two after we tend to get some thunderstorms across the area. So let's see when that Cape is actually going to make it in. I mean, right now, this is the 5th. You can see a strong surge of Cape over Sonora right now, and then continuing to move north, we can see that the Cape values are approaching 2,000 kilojoules at this point. This is on the 6th, and then into the 7th we go,